chapters 1 through 11 of the book of Ezekiel, from the World English Bible. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Recording by David Lawrence. The book of Ezekiel, from the World English Bible, chapters 1 through 11. Chapter 1. Now it happened in the 30th year, in the 4th month, in the 5th day of the month, as I was among the captives by the river Chebar, that the heavens were opened, and I saw visions of God. In the 5th day of the month, which was the 5th year of King Jehoiachin's captivity, the word of Yahweh came expressly to Ezekiel the priest, the son of Buzi, in the land of the Chaldeans, by the river Chebar, and the hand of Yahweh was there on him. I looked, and behold, a stormy wind came out of the north, a great cloud with flashing lightning, and a brightness around it, and out of its midst, as it were glowing metal, out of the midst of the fire. Out of its midst came the likeness of 4 living creatures. This was their appearance. They had the likeness of a man. Every one had 4 faces, and each one of them had 4 wings. Their feet were straight feet, and the sole of their feet was like the sole of a calf's foot, and they sparkled like burnished brass. They had the hands of a man under their wings on their 4 sides. And they 4 had their faces and their wings thus. Their wings were joined one to another. They didn't turn when they went. Each one went straight forward. As for the likeness of their faces, they had the face of a man. And they 4 had the face of a lion on the right side. And they 4 had the face of an ox on the left side. They 4 also had the face of an eagle. Their faces and their wings were separate above. The 2 wings of each one were joined one to another, and 2 covered their bodies. Each one went straight forward. Where the spirit was to go, they went. They didn't turn when they went. As for the likeness of the living creatures, their appearance was like burning coals of fire, like the appearance of torches. The fire went up and down among the living creatures, and the fire was bright, and out of the fire went forth lightning. The living creatures ran and returned as the appearance of a flash of lightning. Now as I saw the living creatures, behold, one wheel on the earth beside the living creatures, for each of the 4 faces of it. The appearance of the wheels and their work was like a barrel, and they 4 had one likeness. And their appearance and their work was as it were a wheel within a wheel. When they went in their 4 directions. They didn't turn when they went. As for their rims, they were high and dreadful, and they 4 had their rims full of eyes all around. When the living creatures went, the wheels went beside them. And when the living creatures were lifted up from the earth, the wheels were lifted up. Wherever the spirit was to go, they went. There was the spirit to go, and the wheels were lifted up beside them. For the spirit of the living creature was in the wheels. When those went, these went. And when those stood, these stood. And when those were lifted up from the earth, the wheels were lifted up beside them. For the spirit of the living creature was in the wheels. When those went, these went. And when those stood, these stood. And when those were lifted up from the earth, the wheels were lifted up beside them. For the spirit of the living creature was in the wheels. Over the head of the living creature there was the likeness of an expanse, like the awesome crystal to look on, stretched forth over their heads above. Under the expanse were their wings straight, the one toward the other. Each one had 2 which covered on this side, and every one had 2 which covered on that side, their bodies. When they went, I heard the noise of their wings like the noise of great waters, like the voice of the Almighty, a noise of tumult like the noise of an army. When they stood, they let down their wings. There was a voice above the expanse that was over their heads. When they stood, they let down their wings. Above the expanse that was over their heads was the likeness of a throne, as the appearance of a sapphire stone. And on the likeness of the throne was the likeness as the appearance of a man on it above. I saw as it were glowing metal, as the appearance of fire within it all around, from the appearance of his waist and upward. And from the appearance of his waist and downward, I saw as it were the appearance of fire. And there was brightness around him, as the appearance of the bow that is in a cloud on the day of rain. So was the appearance of the brightness all around. This was the appearance of the likeness of the glory of Yahweh. When I saw it, I fell on my face, and I heard a voice of one that spoke. Chapter 2. He said to me, Son of man, stand on your feet, and I will speak with you. The Spirit entered into me when he spoke to me, and set me on my feet. And I heard him who spoke to me. He said to me, Son of man, I sent you to the children of Israel, to nations that are rebellious, which have rebelled against me. They and their fathers have transgressed against me even to this very day. The children are impudent and stiff-hearted. I am sending you to them, and you shall tell them, Thus says the Lord Yahweh. They, whether they will hear, or whether they will forbear, for they are a rebellious house, yet shall know that there has been a prophet among them. You, son of man, don't be afraid of them, neither be afraid of their words, though briars and thorns are with you, and you do dwell among scorpions. Don't be afraid of their words, nor be dismayed at their looks, though they are a rebellious house. Ye shall speak my words to them, whether they will hear, or whether they will forbear, for they are most rebellious. But you, son of man, hear what I tell you. Don't be you rebellious, like that rebellious house. Open your mouth, and eat that which I give you. When I looked, behold, a hand was put forth to me, and behold, a scroll of a book was therein. He spread it before me, and it was written within and without, and there were written within lamentations, and mourning, and woe. Chapter 3. He said to me, Son of man, eat that which you find, eat this scroll, and go, speak to the house of Israel. So I opened my mouth, and he caused me to eat the scroll. He said to me, Son of man, cause your belly to eat, and fill your bowels with this scroll that I give you. Then did I eat it, and it was in my mouth as honey for sweetness. He said to me, Son of man, go, get you to the house of Israel, and speak with my words to them. For you are not sent to a people of a strange speech and of a hard language, but to the house of Israel, not to many peoples of a strange speech and of a hard language, whose words you cannot understand. Surely if I sent you to them, they would listen to you. But the house of Israel will not listen to you, for they will not listen to me. For all the house of Israel are of hard forehead and of a stiff heart. Behold, I have made your face hard against their faces, and your forehead hard against their foreheads. As an adamant harder than flint have I made your forehead. Don't be afraid of them, neither be dismayed at their looks, though they are a rebellious house. Moreover he said to me, Son of man, all my works that I shall speak to you receive in your heart, and hear with your ears. Go, get you to them of the captivity, to the children of your people, and speak to them, and tell them, Thus says the Lord Yahweh, whether they will hear, or whether they will forbear. Then the Spirit lifted me up, and I heard behind me the voice of a great rushing, saying, Blessed be the glory of Yahweh from his place. I heard the noise of the wings of the living creatures as they touched one another, and the noise of the wheels beside them, even the noise of a great rushing. So the Spirit lifted me up, and took me away, and I went in bitterness, in the heat of my spirit, and the hand of Yahweh was strong on me. Then I came to them of the captivity at Tel Aviv, that lived by the river Chebar, and to where they lived. And I sat there overwhelmed among them 7 days. It happened at the end of 7 days, that the word of Yahweh came to me, saying, Son of man, I have made you a watchman to the house of Israel. Therefore hear the word at my mouth, and give them warning from me. When I tell the wicked, You shall surely die, and you give him no warning, nor speak to warn the wicked from his wicked way, to save his life, the same wicked man shall die in his iniquity, but his blood will I require at your hand. Yet if you warn the wicked, and he doesn't turn from his wickedness, nor from his wicked way, he shall die in his iniquity, but you have delivered your soul. Again, when a righteous man does turn from his righteousness, and commit iniquity, and I lay a stumbling block before him, he shall die. Because you have not given him warning, he shall die in his sin, and his righteous deeds which he has done shall not be remembered, but his blood I will require at your hand. Nevertheless, if you warn the righteous man, that the righteous not sin, and he does not sin, he shall surely live, because he took warning, and you have delivered your soul. The hand of Yahweh was there on me, and he said to me, Arise, go forth into the plain, and I will there talk with you. Then I arose and went forth into the plain, and behold, the glory of Yahweh stood there, as the glory which I saw by the river Chebar, and I fell on my face. Then the Spirit entered into me, and set me on my feet, and he spoke with me, and said to me, Go, shut yourself within your house. But you, son of man, behold, they shall lay bands on you, and shall bind you with them, and you shall not go out among them. And I will make your tongue cleave to the roof of your mouth, that you shall be mute, and shall not be to them a reprover, for they are a rebellious house. But when I speak with you, I will open your mouth, and you shall tell them, Thus says the Lord Yahweh, He who hears, let him hear, and he who forbears, let him forbear, for they are a rebellious house. Chapter 4. You also, son of man, take a tile, and lay it before you, and portray on it a city, even Jerusalem, and lay siege against it, and build forts against it, and cast up a mound against it. Set camps also against it, and plant battering rams against it all around. Take for yourself an iron pan, and set it for a wall of iron between you and the city, and set your face toward it, and it shall be besieged, and you shall lay siege against it. This shall be a sign against the house of Israel. Moreover, lie you on your left side, and lay the iniquity of the house of Israel on it. According to the number of days that you shall lay on it, you shall bear their iniquity. For I have appointed the years of their iniquity to be to you a number of days, even 390 days. So you shall bear the iniquity of the house of Israel. Again, when you have accomplished these, you shall lie on your right side, and shall bear the iniquity of the house of Judah. 40 days, each day for a year. For I have appointed it to you. You shall set your face toward the siege of Jerusalem, with your arms uncovered, and you shall prophesy against it. Behold, I lay bands on you, and you shall not turn you from one side to the other, until you have accomplished the days of your siege. Take for yourself also wheat, and barley, and beans, and lentils, and millet, and spelt, and put them in one vessel, and make you bread of it, according to the number of the days that you shall lie on your side, even 390 days, you shall eat it. Your food which you shall eat shall be by weight, 20 shekels a day. From time to time you shall eat it. You shall drink water by measure, the 1/6 part of a hin. From time to time you shall drink. You shall eat it as barley cakes, and you shall bake it in their sight with dung that comes out of man. Yahweh said, Even thus shall the children of Israel eat their bread unclean, among the nations where I will drive them. Then said I, Ah, Lord Yahweh, behold, my soul has not been polluted, for from my youth even up until now I have not eaten that which dies of itself, or is torn of animals, neither came there abominable flesh into my mouth. Then he said to me, Behold, I have given you cow's dung for man's dung, and you shall prepare your bread thereon. Moreover, he said to me, Son of man, behold, I will break the staff of bread in Jerusalem, and they shall eat bread by weight, and with fearfulness, and they shall drink water by measure, and in dismay, that they may want bread and water, and be dismayed one with another, and pine away in their iniquity. Chapter 5. You, son of man, take a sharp sword. You shall take it as a barber's razor to you, and shall cause it to pass on your head and on your beard. Then take balances to weigh, and divide the hair. 1/3 part you shall burn in the fire in the midst of the city, when the days of the siege are fulfilled. And you shall take 1/3 part, and strike with the sword around it. And 1/3 part you shall scatter to the wind, and I will draw out a sword after them. You shall take of it a few in number, and bind them in your skirts. Of these again you shall take, and cast them into the midst of the fire, and burn them in the fire. From it shall a fire come forth into all the house of Israel. Thus says the Lord Yahweh, This is Jerusalem. I have set her in the midst of the nations, and countries are around her. She has rebelled against my ordinances in doing wickedness more than other nations, and against my statutes more than the countries that are around her. For they have rejected my ordinances, and as for my statutes, they have not walked in them. Therefore thus says the Lord Yahweh, Because you are turbulent more than the nations that are around you, and have not walked in my statutes, neither have kept my ordinances, neither have done after the ordinances of the nations that are around you, therefore thus says the Lord Yahweh, Behold, I, even I, am against you, and I will execute judgments in the midst of you in the sight of the nations. I will do in you that which I have not done, and whereunto I will not do any more the like, because of all your abominations. Therefore the fathers shall eat the sons in the midst of you, and the sons shall eat their fathers. And I will execute judgments on you, and the whole remnant of you I will scatter to all the winds. Therefore, as I live, says the Lord Yahweh, surely, because you have defiled my sanctuary with all your detestable things, and with all your abominations, therefore I will also diminish you, neither shall my eye spare, and I also will have no pity. A third part of you shall die with the pestilence, and with famine shall they be consumed in the midst of you. And a third part shall fall by the sword around you, and the third part I will scatter to all the winds, and will draw out a sword after them. Thus my anger be accomplished, and I will cause my wrath toward them to rest, and I shall be comforted, and they shall know that I, Yahweh, have spoken in my zeal, when I have accomplished my wrath on them. Moreover, I will make you a desolation and a reproach among the nations that are around you, in the sight of all that pass by. So it shall be a reproach, and a taunt, an instruction, and an astonishment to the nations that are around you, when I shall execute judgments on you in anger and in wrath and in wrathful rebukes. I, Yahweh, have spoken it. When I shall send on them the evil arrows of famine, that are for destruction, which I will send to destroy you, and I will increase the famine on you, and will break your staff of bread, and I will send on you famine and evil animals, and they shall bereave you, and pestilence and blood shall pass through you, and I will bring the sword on you. I, Yahweh, have spoken it. Chapter 6. The word of Yahweh came to me, saying, Son of man, set your face toward the mountains of Israel, and prophesy to them, and say, You mountains of Israel, hear the word of the Lord Yahweh. Thus says the Lord Yahweh to the mountains and to the hills, to the watercourses and to the valleys. Behold, I, even I, will bring a sword on you, and I will destroy your high places. Your altars shall become desolate, and your incense altars shall be broken. And I will cast down your slain men before your idols. I will lay the dead bodies of the children of Israel before their idols. And I will scatter your bones around your altars. In all your dwelling places the cities shall be laid waste, and the high places shall be desolate. That your altars may be laid waste and made desolate, and your idols may be broken and cease, and your incense altars may be cut down, and your works may be abolished. The slain shall fall in the midst of you, and you shall know that I am Yahweh. Yet I will leave a remnant, in that you shall have some that escape the sword among the nations, when you shall be scattered through the countries. Those of you that escape shall remember me among the nations where they shall be carried captive. How that I have been broken with their lewd heart, which is departed from me, and with their eyes, which play the prostitute after their idols. And they shall loathe themselves in their own sight for the evils that they have committed in all their abominations. They shall know that I am Yahweh. I have not said in vain that I would do this evil to them. Thus says the Lord Yahweh, Smite with your hand, and stamp with your foot, and say, Alas! Because of all the evil abominations of the house of Israel, for they shall fall by the sword, by the famine, and by the pestilence. He who is far off shall die of the pestilence, and he who is near shall fall by the sword, and he who remains and is besieged shall die by the famine. Thus I will accomplish my wrath on them. You shall know that I am Yahweh, when their slain men shall be among their idols around their altars, on every high hill, on all the tops of the mountains, and under every green tree, and under every thick oak, the places where they offered pleasant aroma to all their idols. I will stretch out my hand on them, and make the land desolate and waste, from the wilderness toward Diblah, throughout all their habitations, and they shall know that I am Yahweh. Chapter 7. Moreover, the word of Yahweh came to me, saying, You, son of man, thus says the Lord Yahweh to the land of Israel, An end, The end is come on the four corners of the land. Now is the end on you. And I will send my anger on you, and will judge you according to your ways. And I will bring on you all your abominations. My eye shall not spare you, neither will I have pity. But I will bring your ways on you, and your abomination shall be in the midst of you. And you shall know that I am Yahweh. Thus says the Lord Yahweh, an evil, and only evil, behold, it comes. An end is come, the end is come. It awakes against you. Behold, it comes. Your doom is come to you, inhabitant of the land. The time is come, the day is near, a day of tumult, and not of joyful shouting on the mountains. Now I will shortly pour out my wrath on you, and accomplish my anger against you, and will judge you according to your ways. And I will bring on you all your abominations. My eye shall not spare, neither will I have pity. I will bring on you according to your ways, and your abomination shall be in the midst of you, and you shall know that I, Yahweh, do strike. Behold the day, behold it comes. Your doom is gone forth, the rod has blossomed, pride has budded. Violence is risen up into a rod of wickedness. None of them shall remain, nor of their multitude, nor of their wealth, neither shall there be eminency among them. The time is come, the day draws near. Don't let the buyer rejoice, nor the seller mourn, for wrath is on all its multitude. For the seller shall not return to that which is sold, although they yet be alive. For the vision is touching the whole multitude of it, none shall return. Neither shall any strengthen himself in the iniquity of his life. They have blown the trumpet, and have made all ready, but none goes to battle, for my wrath is on all its multitude. The sword is outside, and the pestilence and the famine within. He who is in the field shall die with the sword, and he who is in the city, famine and pestilence shall devour him. But those of those who escape shall escape, and shall be on the mountains like doves of the valley, all of them moaning, every one in his iniquity. All hands shall be feeble, and all knees shall be weak as water. They shall also gird themselves with sackcloth, and horror shall cover them, and shame shall be on all faces, and baldness on all their heads. They shall cast their silver in the streets, and their gold shall be as an unclean thing. Their silver and their gold shall not be able to deliver them in the day of the wrath of Yahweh. They shall not satisfy their souls, neither fill their bowels, because it has been the stumbling block of their iniquity. As for the beauty of his ornament, he set it in majesty. But they made the images of their abominations and their detestable things therein. Therefore I have made it to them as an unclean thing. I will give it into the hands of the strangers for a prey, and to the wicked of the earth for a spoil, and they shall profane it. My face I will turn also from them, and they shall profane my secret place, and robbers shall enter into it, and profane it. Make the chain, for the land is full of bloody crimes, and the city is full of violence. Therefore I will bring the worst of the nations, and they shall possess their houses. I will also make the pride of the strong to cease, and their holy places shall be profaned. Destruction comes, and they shall seek peace, and there shall be none. Mischief shall come on mischief, and rumor shall be on rumor. And they shall seek a vision of the prophet, but the law shall perish from the priest, and counsel from the elders. The king shall mourn, and the prince shall be clothed with desolation, and the hands of the people of the land shall be troubled. I will do to them after their way, and according to their own judgments will I judge them. And they shall know that I am Yahweh. Chapter 8. It happened in the 6th year, in the 6th month, in the 5th day of the month, as I sat in my house, and the elders of Judah sat before me, that the hand of the Lord Yahweh fell there on me. Then I saw, and behold, a likeness as the appearance of fire, from the appearance of his waist and downward, fire, and from his waist and upward, as the appearance of brightness, as it were glowing metal. He put forth the form of a hand, and took me by a lock of my head. And the Spirit lifted me up between earth and the sky, and brought me in the visions of God to Jerusalem, to the door of the gate of the inner court that looks toward the north, where there was the seat of the image of jealousy, which provokes to jealousy. Behold, the glory of the God of Israel was there, according to the appearance that I saw in the plain. Then he said to me, Son of man, lift up your eyes now the way toward the north. So I lifted up my eyes the way toward the north, and see, northward of the gate of the altar, this image of jealousy in the entry. He said to me, Son of man, see you what they do? Even the great abominations that the house of Israel do commit here, that I should go far off from my sanctuary. But you shall again see yet other great abominations. He brought me to the door of the court, and when I looked, behold, a hole in the wall. Then he said to me, Son of man, dig now in the wall. And when I had dug in the wall, behold, a door. He said to me, Go in, and see the wicked abominations that they do here. So I went in, and saw, and see every form of creeping thing, and abominable animals, and all the idols of the house of Israel, portrayed around on the wall. There stood before them 70 men of the elders of the house of Israel, and in the midst of them stood Jezaniah, the son of Shaphan, every man with his censer in his hand, and the odor of the cloud of incense went up. Then he said to me, Son of man, have you seen what the elders of the house of Israel do in the dark, every man in his chambers of imagery? For they say, Yahweh doesn't see us. Yahweh has forsaken the land. He also said to me, You shall again see yet other great abominations which they do. Then he brought me to the door of the gate of Yahweh's house, which was toward the north. And see, there sat the woman weeping for Tammuz. Then he said to me, Have you seen this, son of man? You shall again see yet greater abominations than these. He brought me into the inner court of Yahweh's house. And see, at the door of the temple of Yahweh, between the porch and the altar, were about 25 men, with their backs toward the temple of Yahweh, and their faces toward the east. And they were worshipping the sun toward the east. Then he said to me, Have you seen this, son of man? Is it a light thing to the house of Judah, that they commit the abominations which they commit here? For they have filled the land with violence, and have turned again to provoke me to anger. And behold, they put the branch to their nose. Therefore I will also deal in wrath. My eye shall not spare, neither will I have pity. And though they cry in my ears with a loud voice, yet I will not hear